how does it, if for example, the Home Office did answer your request and said, we can tell you that, I don't know, 126 kids came over the past year with unrelated adults. That's a low number. How does that identify them?
Well, you see, it's completely baffling because, as you know, my late mum used to work for Kent County Council with unaccompanied asylum-seeking children. Now, these aren't unaccompanied asylum-seeking children. These are children that are coming across with adults and they have no relation to them. So, as you said earlier, I've been thinking it over the weekend. I've got the FOI here, so I sent it on the 9th of March, and they said, in line with Section 42 of the FOIA, Freedom of Information Act, we are unable to provide the information requested as the exact figures are low and therefore individuals may be identifiable to the public.
How, Liam? How does that work? If you tell me 6,000 or 6, how does that identify them? They're looking for reasons not to tell you, aren't they?
Yeah, well, we've got to be very careful what we say here. But
the Home Office, no, we don't.
No, well, I've been thinking about the reasons why over the weekend, and as you said earlier on, it could be that this is willingly, you know, these. Say, for example, you are wanting to come to the UK and a family that lives next door, for example, says, we can't afford to go, you take my kid. And maybe that will benefit us both because they can then send for us lot when they finally arrive in Dover. That's, you know, with the parents' consent. The other reason, I dread to think, it's every parent's worst nightmare. So presumably these children are being, you know, they are identified by the social services. Kent County Council is, and I know from personal experience with my late mum, for example, that they are very, very high, very stretched. But then you've got to think, well, there could be kids that are in school, for example, that, you know, don't have their parents or whatever. It's really tricky. But to say that the figures are low admits, I mean, what business do adults have bringing kids with no relation to the country?
Well,
surely
I think it's they're used as a prop. Mainly. And by the way, we should also point out that kids do turn up with monotonous regularity. Little kids who made their own way to Calais. It does happen. But your actual request, I've got it in front of me now, was in 2024, January the 1st to the 31st of December. So that's the last full year. How many of those claiming adults asylum after crossing the Channel were found to be in possession of or accompanied by a child with no relation to them? This could be through abduction, smuggling, or smuggling, for example. As you say, their response was in line with Section 40(2) of the Freedom of Information Act. We are unable to provide the information requested as the exact figures are low and therefore individuals may be identifiable to the public. There's no logic in that, is there? There's no logic in that.
None whatsoever. But what it goes to show is that there are children arriving in that have absolutely no connection to the adults. And it's clear, people over the age of 18 by law here, adults with no relation to them. That in itself is something that needs investigating.
Yeah, it is. This line is going bad again. But this is the point. I mean, is there any indication of how many, maybe you should put in an FOI request about this, how many actual kids come across with their parents, with their mums, with their dads, who are related to them? Do we have any kind of percentage? Do we know about that?
Well, no, I used to go down and cover the river dogs. A few years ago, for a year or two.
Liam, this is going again. Oh God! Look, can we just try and get Liam back one last time because this line is terrible. Yeah. So what he's talking about here is children who turn up with adults, and it happens all the time. It does happen regularly, but they're not related related to these adults. That's what he wants to know about. I mean, that's a very worrying syndrome. And the Home Office doesn't seem to want to tell us. Now, what I'm saying is, and I think Liam would agree, what we don't accept, we can't have the government turning around to us and saying, well, we're not telling you because the exact figures are low. What do you mean by that? What are the exact figures? The Freedom of Information Act for you guys and the girls at the Home Office is this. You have to supply us with the information we request. How do we know that the numbers are low? What do you mean by the fact the numbers are low? Compared to what? We can't have you making your value judgments about what's low, what's high. You owe us these figures, don't you think? So I want to find out what everybody else thinks. 03444991000. I think we're probably going to have to park old Liam today. We might get him back tomorrow for a proper chat about this. But you've got the essence of it. Children, unrelated children, are turning up in this country with adults, asylum seekers, and Liam wants to know how many, and the Home Office won't tell him, won't tell us, won't tell the British people. They can't make value judgments about what is a low number and what is a high number. That's not for them to do, because that means we have to implicitly accept their valuations, and we're not prepared to do that. So we need to know. Don't you feel, folks, that we need to know how many unaccompanied, unrelated children are making these illegal crossings? Don't you think? And why would you say that the Home Office is not telling us? 0344 499 1000. When we come back, I'm going to be joined by the excellent Robert Bates. We're going to talk about, well, he's an expert on the escalating migrant crisis. And we're going to talk about one of the great enticements, and that is, of course, free treatment with the NHS. More and more foreigners are turning up claiming expensive treatment. One Nigerian person turned up, got £500,000 worth of treatment on the NHS in London. We're supposed to bill them and their country to pay for it. Disappeared, never to be paid. So 256 million quid has gone south, has gone missing, gone down the drain in this way. Foreigners coming into the country going, I'm sick, I just happen to have got sick while I'm here. Us treating them on the free NHS. Frankly, NHS officials remiss in saying who's paying for this, where are you from, what's your health service, etc. Just treating them, and then they disappear. We're losing hundreds of millions of pounds like that. So you could say the NHS is losing it, but it's our money, folks. They're spaffing it by not pinning these people down. Got to do something about this, haven't we?